Alrighty, we've got more stuff with Sami and the Bloodline. Who will turn on him? Who will be the first one to kick Sami Zayn's ass? Who knows? We got to find out later because it didn't happen on this show, but it's coming. It's coming. It's absolutely coming. And people's hearts are going to be broken. They'll be going, yes, yes. Let's get to the second part of the story. Yes. And also, Ricochet won the Smackdown World Cup, meaning it was Ricochet and Escobar, two Smackdown stars, one World Cup. Have fun on seeing that. And the women's division had a return that certainly happened. I'm John Retton with my review of WWE Smackdown from Buffalo, New York. And yeah, all that stuff happened. Tegan Nox is back. Yeah, I can certainly say it, she is. That's really all I have to say about that. Let's get into the show. So the theme is ass. Absolute ass. Whoever came up with this theme, they need to go back to musician school or need to go back to the studio, or maybe that studio needs to be burned to the goddamn ground. Can we get good rap to open these wrestling shows, not this bullshit? So, Sami gets a pop. Kind of makes sense because Buffalo has a good history as far as wrestling goes, and it is close to Canada, so you can have Canadian fans crossing over. And we get Survivor Series recaps for the men's War Games and then the women's War Games later on. It's Sami and the Bloodline kind of promo, and they lay the praise for Sami on thick. He proved his worth, all this, and it's going to end up being Solo that attacks him, isn't it? Because Solo doesn't always participate in the antics. I have a feeling it's going to be Solo. I don't really know. He's feeling very oozy, and Solo just stands there. Then Sheamus shows up and says he feels bad that he's going to have to beat up a fellow ginger. But there you go, or beat the bollocks off a fellow ginger. And then Sami with the Bloodline versus Sheamus, and, well, the Brutes, Ridge and Peter Dune, and it was the typical stuff. Look, it was well worked. It did go a while. They didn't have a lot for this show, because it was on FS1. And it wasn't a bad match. Don't misunderstand me. It's just, this is almost the first 30 minutes of the goddamn show. The promo, recaps, and this match, where everybody's brawling. We'll see you this weekend for the Royal Rumble. Solo says, F your back. He just does that to Peter Dune. And then we eventually get a sunset flip for 3 after one of the Usos kicks Sheamus when the referee's distracted. They make the referees look dumb. Speaking of looking dumb, Zelina's hair is taller than she is and weighs her down. They had a Santos Escobar promo. Legado del Phantasm is right there, and they're having fun. They're having fun right there. Legoland Phantasm's having fun. Santos will win the World Cup. About that. So anyway, Megan is with Kofi. He announces he will be in the Rumble. And then Imperium shows up after stuff gets talked about with the World Cup. Well, at first, it's just Vinci and Kaiser. And then all of a sudden, he says, I'll challenge either one of you for a one-on-one match. And Gunther steps in and says, haha, you're facing me. And then Kofi says, you were just standing there to the side and you came in. Haha, we're making fun of how we set up our interviews. But anyway, nevertheless, Bray is backstage with ambient music, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. I'm sorry, I don't. People do. I'm glad you guys like this stuff. It's the same as it ever was, same as it ever was. He didn't hurt LA Knight. Somebody else did. Anyway, Shotzi and Ronda, we had those recasts. Boy, that was an embarrassment. Funny how Ronda wanted to bring in fellow denier of obvious things from history, Brian Kendrick, to be part of this, considering that Ronda's all about denying shit from history. And yeah, I hope that Brian Kendrick never actually gets a job in wrestling, because look, you can say some things and you can apologize for some things. It's funny how he only apologized for this once it came to light. Even if it was old, you don't say this kind of shit unless you actually believe it, whether you got brain parasites in your head or not. Anyway, Moss gives Emma a pep talk. Hands up if you forgot that Emma already returned to WWE. I mean, she faced Rousey the Raccoon. She had some backstage segment. She's been looking for Riddick Moss. Or Madcap Moss, as we're. By the way, in case you didn't know, Emma and Moss are dating, and good for them for finding happiness. Shayna took on Emma in a match. There we go. It was certainly a match that happened. Wasn't bad. Emma can work, so can Shayna. The Barracuda Clutch gets the victory. The crowd also didn't give a shit. They didn't give a shit most of the night, in all honesty, unless Sami and the Bloodline was out there. So then Shotzi comes down to make the save and actually gets the shit beat out of her. And then Raquel, who has the Mo Vaughn thing on her arm. If anybody remembers Mo Vaughn, you know what I'm talking about. If you're not a baseball fan, then you probably don't remember. And I'm not even a baseball fan anymore. But I remember that guy with the goddamn Mega Man X-Buster thing on his arm. Nevertheless, even though Emma was beat up and Shayna could have just given her one kick and knocked her down, she beat up Shotzi. She runs away when Raquel, with one good arm, comes down. Okay. So anyway, Lacey Evans, she's getting back to basics. She's doing military training. Look, this is like the 5th time they've tried to rehab her character since coming back from being pregnant. It just, stop. Just stop. It's not working. This isn't working. Her character is beyond repair. I'm not saying don't have faith. Put her in NXT or something. Have her do something like that. Have her go on a 6-month run there. Have her do something. Have her be in feuds, beat some people, and then put some other people over, and then maybe bring her back up after Mania? Or maybe leave her in there until after SummerSlam and then bring her up? I don't think they know what they're doing. Speaking of not knowing what they're doing, we go to a Ricochet video package. Letting this man talk probably isn't a good idea. Kofi took on Gunther, and, well, it was nice knowing you, Kofi. Kofi put up a good fight. Imperium interfered, and Braun came down to chase them both off, so now it's Kofi versus Gunther. And they set a good pace. Kofi kept kicking out of Gunther's various maneuvers and hit some winding slam he calls the Last Symphony. 1, 2, 3. Fine enough for what it was. And then the Usos tell Solo, hey, go with Sammy. You made a lot of enemies, so we want you to be protected. And then I think Jimmy said to Jay, hey, remember what Roman say about you, or about Sammy lying to your face? Or lying about what, Owens said to him, or talking to Owens. And he says, well, Roman saw what he needed to see. Meaning pretty soon we're going to get the split. So Sheamus then attacks the Usos with his shillelagh. Banger after banger after banger after banger. It's going to be Drew and Sheamus getting next. They've got next, as the kids say. And then Damage Control shows up. Look, their theme sucks. Their theme goddamn sucks. Damage Control doesn't suck. They've kind of been beaten a lot. But they're still the tag team champions, for what that means, i.e. nothing. They talk about War Games. Bayley yells at a fan. Then here's Liv. She says 3 on 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that's fair. And then she runs down. And she's getting beat down. Suddenly music hits and Tegan Nox is back. And oh, God, her ACL snapped again. That's mean, but let's be honest. She hasn't been wrestling all that much, apparently. And maybe, look, if she can actually be healthy and not have it where her knees don't just turn to goddamn powder, then good. But I don't have faith this is going to work. And I'm glad that Triple H is trying to make it right with various people that have been released unjustifiably. Vince, when he was in power, just cutting people left and right. And I understand wanting to bring back people that you like, but here's the thing. Triple H has had a terrible track record of bringing people in. And not that AEW hasn't had that, but if we're just talking about WWE, whatever. Some people like it, and that's great. That's great. Tegan also got the shit beat out of her until Liv got her stick out and then beat the shit out of everybody, because why the hell not? Cross and Scarlett are backstage. Tick-tock, and he's going after Ray next. Okay. Next week, it's going to be, I believe, the Usos or Riddle and Elias. So it's going to be the Usos versus Drew and Sheamus in a tag team championship match. And I believe Shotzi versus Shayna Baszler, that I swear we just saw recently. I don't know why they didn't have Shotzi and Emma against Shayna and somebody, but whatever. I guess they didn't want to have Ronda be part of it, because Ronda was doing media after winning at Survivor Series, because she should be oh so proud of that boring shit fest. But anyway, Angle birthday celebration because they're in Pittsburgh. I hope Kurt Angle's doing all right. Do not let Kurt Angle wrestle again in any company. I don't care. He doesn't need to wrestle again. Uncle Howdy shows up. This is dumb. That's what I wrote down. Zelina got a booster seat to be able to do commentary for all of 5 minutes. By the way, Santos made his entrance, and I think it was 7 to 10 minutes later before we got to not only Ricochet's entrance, but the match. Ricochet versus Santos Escobar. Smackdown World Cup final, and a little bit into this match, all the people get kicked out, and they do moves, and they lay some shit in. There was a dive outside. A shooting star press on the apron. Don't know why you would do that. They were going all out. I'll give them that much credit. Ricochet kept kicking out of everything. It seemed like Santos might get the victory, but after his friends got kicked out, he then ended up going for broke. But there was a Poison Rana off the top. The Poison Rana is stupid. Stop doing it. We get a 6:30 for 3. Ricochet wins, and he's going to face Gunther in 2 weeks. Okay. And they're going to be in Chicago. All right, that is what it is. I'm not going to complain. I'm a little bit surprised, but you know what? It is what it is. So it wasn't a bad episode of SmackDown for FS1. I'm not going to say it was great, but yay, Tegan Nox returned. Cool. Anyway, agree, disagree what I said. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.